Welcome back to Spanish Animation. I'm your host, Dennis Batholkus, and this is The Expanse, Season 4, Episode 1, New Terra. Now, of course, this is now on Amazon Prime. Yes, the entire Season 4 is out, but I am going to go over it one episode at a time because we're not animals here. We don't need to binge the entire thing. We can watch them once at a time, one at a time there. So, welcome everybody. I know people have been chomping at the bit waiting for this. So, yeah, let's before we get into it, actually, let me do a little bit of business first. Yes, that was a little tease there for you. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. Also, if you want to know when I'm gonna be on live again next, you can hit the bell down below. If you hit the bell, don't hit it again, it will unclick it. The bell only gives you a 50-50 chance of actually notifying you from YouTube. If you really want to see where I'm at, go on to suspendedfanimation.com. You'll see the schedule up there. It's also mirrored on my Facebook page. And speaking of Facebook, there's a Facebook group page which you guys can post stuff, chat amongst yourselves, all that kind of good stuff. There's also Twitter and Instagram and a Patreon page. There's no tiers as of yet, but there will be at the end of this year, beginning of next year. Yes. So let's get to it, shall we? Spoiler alert. I am going to spoil the shit out of the episode. If you have not seen the episode, go back and watch it and come on back. This will be a video. And then you can comment down below in the comment section. Thank you, Viking Bitch, for the newer paddle. Let's get to it, shall we? So this is not going to be a recap. There's no recap on this. I'm just going to be doing a review of this. And yeah, let's just do it that way. I think that will work better than doing the recap. So we basically start off almost we start off just after the ring is up and the blockades are in place from both the UN and Mars because and even the Belters too. We have the OPA are also blocking this off. And the reason why they don't want people going through the ring, of course, is because they don't know what's on the other side as of yet. If there's any kind of dangers, because Holden, of course, saw this entire the civilization that built these rings, he saw them get wiped out. They no longer exist. They don't know why. And Proto Miller, of course, wants to find out why. And that's why they don't want people monkeying around over there, finding something, and then, of course, having it come right back to Earth and destroying everybody on Earth. Yeah, that's the whole reason for that. And so we see some Belters in the beginning, actually, a Belter ship making a run for it, and they're getting fired upon, and they make it through. So 8 months later, we see that Holden, of course, is making the rounds, talking to the UN, all that kind of stuff, and he basically is the I guess you can say the de facto person who knows about the rings the most because he's talking to Proto Miller, and everyone knows this. I should say, Christian knows this, and Proto Miller actually isn't really talking to him, more at him, saying that we need to find the next clue. We need to find the next clue. I need to hitch a ride. When are we going to go? It's basically like having an annoying 3-year-old stuck in your head going, when are we going to go? We're going to go to Splash Mountain. We're going to go to Splash Mountain. We're going to go to Splash Mountain. We're going to go to Splash Mountain until you say yes. And then he kind of shuts up. So thank you, Joe Greer. And he's not really all that more communicative than that. And so they end up getting word back from a planet called Illis, which is actually the UN calls it New Terra. And some of the Belters have survived and they have landed on there and they've tried colonizing. They're mining it right now and they're finding a lot of shit there. So they sent back some pictures, of course, and there's some pictures of what looks like the protomolecules buildings and stuff like that, and how they need to, of course, go and investigate. So Christian is sending the Rossi and the crew to that planet so they can go and take a look at it. In the meantime, on Mars, Bobby is basically doing nothing. She's been drummed out of the service. She's not even used for her knowledge of everything that she went through, by the government at all. She's essentially just working as a scrapper at this point, and kind of sucks for her, right? And in the meantime, the behemoth is sitting basically inside the gate as a way station, and they're just setting up communication posts outside each ring so that they can relay communications to Earth and, well, actually the solar system, the Sol system. And the UN keeps pushing Christian to send people out there because there's a 50% unemployment rate around the planet, and saying, "Hey, we've got the means now. Let's go and do this." And she's like, "No, we don't know what's out there." So she's holding everything back at this point. So the Rossi crew ends up getting sent out there along with the Edward Israel, who had just been sent out before them, which is a ship full of scientists and colonists. And the Edward Israel, of course, is out there before them, a couple of weeks before them, and they send down a shuttle, which looks like it gets shot to hell. I don't know exactly. We see like stuff come flying through as they're going through landing. Um, you see what looks like bullet holes almost coming through. One of the people gets sucked out the side of the capsule itself, creating a huge hole, and it crash lands. And we see the security officer Murty. He's all banged up, Adolphus Murty, and he's going through the wreckage, seeing how people are, how many people are dead, all that kind of stuff. He's a new character, by the way. And yeah, Christian, of course, ends up telling the Rossi crew what's going on. And as she tells Holden, don't put your dick in it because it's fucked enough as it is. Don't take sides, essentially, is what she's saying. Yeah, yeah. And that was actually pretty damn funny, I have to admit. So, of course, yeah, and that is good advice, as Amos says. It's good advice, and I mean, we touch base with everybody, with all our characters. We even touch base with Julie Mao a little bit too, as she calls in to Amos and asks him if he was the one that left all the guards off on the airlock when she went out to go and check the airlock. And he said, "Yeah." He goes, "If I was facing a life sentence, I would want that choice too." She goes, "Well, thanks, but you know, I'm not going to take that." And it's like nice to see that Amos is looking out for people, letting them kill themselves if they want to or not. You know. Yes. And what was she wearing? Amos. Yeah, asking about Christians, what she's wearing. Yeah, and you can tell that the budget has increased quite a bit for this. Um, and we got a lot more f bombs, of course. It's a much more relaxed um, atmosphere, if you will. With the You can tell that with the cast, like they know that they actually have money now, so they can do some stuff. They can act. They don't have to run on a skeleton crew, if you will, for the casting and things like that. So yeah, it's really good. And of course, they get down to the planet. The Rossi lands without incident. They get down to the planet, and also the other big thing is that Naomi, who of course was born a Belter and has never been on a planet before, goes through the whole treatment of bulking up, getting her bone density and her muscle density and her lung capacities up to speed so that she can actually survive on a planet. And having her walk out for the first time on a planet was actually interesting. It was nice to see that, how she kind of stumbled a little bit and then just that kind of wonder that she has. So yeah, it was pretty nice. You get to see all of that too. And of course, they end up not getting the best of greetings from the Belters. And of course, Murty tries to take over, immediately calling it New Terra. And they're like, no, 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 wait a minute. So everyone pulls their guns, of course. And what interrupts this whole thing is we get a swarm of something. We don't know what the fuck it is coming in, as everyone says, "What the fuck is that?" And Holden tells everyone to take cover. And we see these things coming through, and they're cutting people as they're flying through and hitting metal and making sparks as they're hitting whatever metal stuff, and they fly off. And Holden goes and grabs one, and it basically looks like a small little metal batarang with barbs all over it. And how they're flying around on their own, we don't know. And yeah, Holden's kind of like, "What the fuck is this?" And the other thing too is as soon as they got through the gate, Proto Miller's like, "Thanks for the ride, kid. Gotta go," and takes off. So we don't know exactly what Proto Miller is doing either. If this is if he's corrupt, if he's going to reactivate whatever this proto molecule structure is that is on New Terra, if it's we don't know what exactly he's up to at this point. We don't know if he's good or if he's bad. Yeah. And as Christian even said, the reason why she sent them over to New Terra was to make sure it's not another fucking Eros, as she says, that it's not something that is what we think is dead but was really alive, kind of thing. Yeah. I know, Belinda. I said I wasn't doing a recap, but I kind of have to talk over some things, and that's kind of like a glossing over of things. And so we had a lot of good stuff in this episode, and um, it's kind of like we're coming back to things, and this is a bit different. So this is a bit different than other sci-fi shows. As someone once put it, it's Game of Thrones in space. And yes, I could feel that because you get the Earth faction, the Mars faction, the Belter faction, and now you're gonna have these off-world factions. And then also, there's gonna be some kind of beef that's gonna happen with the behemoth being the way station, setting up communications, and also being the vanguard, if you will, of keeping the defense of anything that comes through those gates to harm Earth. So that's what they are there for as well. And you know that the OPA, something's gonna happen where they're gonna flex their muscles at that point, and they're gonna realize that they are a lot more powerful than, everyone else is at this point. So, yeah, it's, not according to the books, not in the first half. So, I haven't read the book, Stanley Tweedle. I don't know what the books entail. I'm not going to read the books, I'm sorry. I know they're based on some good books and whatnot. I just honestly don't have the time for it, and, that way I never have to, you know, miss the blast this morning, "Oh, this boring?" Oh, thanks, Dante. No, I got you. Missed the blast this morning, got it. Yeah. Penn Farm Girl says, "The Tudors came up on SBO, and that was the first place I ever saw Chris Holden read. He shows up in so many things, watch Underworld, Lost Girk, Vikings, etc., and now he's here in The Expanse." Yeah, yeah. I'm in the middle of the first novel, but novellas are shot. Yeah, you don't have to worry about any kind of spoilers from books from me or anything like that, because again, like I said, I haven't read the books. I'm going purely on what is on the screen. That is what I'm doing. And so you'll never get any kind of book spoilers from me. I'm gonna try not to go ahead of whatever the episode is. And even if I do go ahead, I'm not gonna spoil it for you in the episode that I'm currently doing. So if I had watched episode 2, I wouldn't talk about episode 2 during episode 1. It's just not right for those of you who are following along the same way I am. So yeah, good stuff. It's some good sci-fi. We get physics involved as well. That's the other thing I liked is we saw, Ashford chasing down some pirates and them, dumping their core, and of course them having to take off away from them. And you get other stuff too, like, they send out almost like shrapnel out at Ashford, and they have to dodge it because at the speeds they're going, any kind of little piece of metal can just rip right through their ship. So they need to dodge it in order to, not die, which I liked as well. Hey, Morks. Yeah, Pen. I know the books are really good. I honestly, I have a problem with books written by committee, and that's kind of what I honestly can tell you. The books written by 2 or more people, on one hand that I've read, or series, I should say. I don't know what it is. It just kind of unnerves me for some reason. I don't know why. Stanley Twiddle says, also, I don't mind if the show deviates from the books. Yeah. And I'm perfectly okay with that too, because of course I haven't read the books. uh, Viking Bitch says, I'm sure people that work in TV and movies behind the scenes know that each job could be temporary, but it's still nice to have a steady paycheck for a while. Yeah, exactly. And also, the show is strong on its own, but there is a lot they use from the books. The skeleton is definitely there. Yeah, yeah. The bones are definitely there. I know, and that's what's nice. I know that Game of Thrones, they had to take liberties with it because, of course, George R. R. Martin dragged his fucking feet on finishing up the story, and so they had to make up their own ending to it, and that's pretty much why it sucked. Yeah, that's why the ending sucked, I should say, not the series. Although parts of the series, yeah. The change they made won't bother me. Done even more. Don't even compare this masterpiece to Game of Thrones. Yes, I got what you were saying there, Marks. I have the translation. I have the Morks to English translation going on. So it took a while for it to kick in. Yeah, drummer is good. And I'm interested to see where she's going at this point, you know, because she looks like she might be a little bit bored with what she's doing. Yeah. Joker says the Churn podcast was also nice when Sci-Fi had it. The authors had a lot of input in it. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, the writers' room here for this series are pretty damn good, and they're very responsive. I remember reading them on Twitter when they were doing season 3 on Sci-Fi, and they were very responsive, and they're pretty damn funny too. They try to foreshadow things in the show that were invented rather late in the books. Yeah, so the show is better than the books in some. Yeah, I mean that's always going to be the hindsight, right? Because you something comes up in later books that of course the authors were like, well, shit, I wish we could have done that. We could have foreshadowed that earlier in some of the other books. And then the writers of the show can actually go, okay, well, we can do that. We can actually, add these little things here and there to make it seem better. To not seem better, I should say, to foreshadow it and to make the story smooth out and flow a little bit better. Yeah. Viking Bitch says the authors are very salty on Twitter. They take no shit. Yeah. Yeah. James S.A. Corey. Yes, I know. I read from them as well. Yes. I guess if you go on Twitter for the Expanse on Prime is what it's called, or Expanse on Prime is what it is. They're giving away a poster signed by all the cast. If I forget what you have to do for it. You need to submit something. Basically, why you're why you should get it or something like that. Yeah. There was more of a Sarla from the start, so that's a definite improvement. Yeah. And like I said, you can hear that she gets drop more F bombs, all that kind of stuff, which is good. Describe the series in 10 words or less. No, I don't think it was that. I think it was something else. I don't remember what it was. My brain's Swiss cheese now at this point. Yeah. So good stuff. Definitely going to be covering this episode by episode. Next one is it's gonna fall on Tuesdays, is where it's gonna fall, Tuesday nights. So if you're around and can make it, that's what's gonna happen there. And you can blame the Mandalorian for that one. It was gonna be on Wednesday nights, but then the Mandalorian decided they're gonna drop the next episode on Wednesday. So I figured, what the fuck? I'll make it on Tuesday then. Yeah. And yes, Avasarla is a very powerful female character. Although she is starting to become a bureaucrat, which is something that I'm not digging. That was the one thing I did not like. in this episode is that she's acting out of fear and keeping people back. When originally, when we saw her in like season one and whatnot, she wasn't. She liked to have the power, but at the same time, I didn't think she held people back as much as she's doing now in this season. So, yeah. Battle Marcus says, I love book 4 and 5, and I don't mind the changes. I'm just happy that we have the expanse. Vote Avasarla 2020. Yeah, I'd rather not wait for Nobi. I don't want people. I hate to bring real world stuff into this, but uh, I'd rather keep votes in one section so that we don't have the shit show that we already have going on right now. So that's all I'm gonna say. I met them when they were in Seattle, and they are hilarious. Nice, Belinda. Yeah. So, with that said, that's the first episode. There we go. Uh, go and watch it. Um, let's see what I got going on tomorrow. Of course, is Mr. Robot and Watchmen back to back. Monday is going to be His Dark Materials. I believe it's the end of His Dark Materials, or it's the penultimate episode. I think it's penultimate episode. And then, of course, The Expanse is going to be on Tuesday, The Mandalorian on Wednesday, Harley Quinn on Friday, and we wrap back around to Saturday morning blast off on Saturday. That's where we end up with. So, where are we at on time here? I just want to see where I'm at here. Oh, okay. That's not too bad. Yeah, I don't want to keep you guys too long, especially for those of you on the East Coast, and also for Stanley, because Stanley is, what is it now? Like 1:30 almost for you, Stanley, out there? 1:30 in the morning? How long is the season finale for Watchmen? Anyone know? Probably too long. You see what I did there, Joe? Yeah. Uh yes. Well, it couldn't be any worse than a cookie turning tricks, you know? All right. With that said, I'm going to let you guys go for the evening. Thank you for those of you who joined me tonight in the chat. Thank you if you made it this far in the video. Also, if you're on the fence about joining up, you're going to see at the very end of this video a video pop up here. Basically, what YouTube does, it takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and then tries to match one single video out of my vast video library with all of that, or as come as close to it as possible, and they pop it up there for you. Up here is going to be Saturday morning blast off. That's what we got there. And yeah, go and watch Harley Quinn, man. It's some good stuff too. Yeah, that is actually some good stuff. Um, so until then, like, share, and subscribe. I'm gonna let you guys go. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may end up having Avasarla tell you, not to put your dick in it because it's fucked enough as it is already. Which honestly, that is some pretty damn good advice. Thanks, everybody. Good night.